Hello everyone, how's it going? If you're like me, you're super excited for the next Mass Effect. Right now it doesn't have an official name, but it's going by Mass Effect 5 because the Mass Effect trilogy, Andromeda, and now this. And this is years after the original official teaser trailer, which was this, which showcased Liara and a Derelict Reaper along with finding an N7 visor. So, you know, a lot of people are excited for this game, and I am as well. I love Mass Effect, but it seems that the game will not release until 2029. Now, if you've been keeping up with BioWare, you know there were mass layoffs back in August, and there have been employees suing the company for wrongful severance, meaning that they didn't get the full severance as they are owed, and now they're apparently going to court for this, which they should do if they weren't given what they were owed. So a lot of things are happening right now, so it seems with everything that's transpiring, it does make sense, especially seeing that the next major game will be Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and I doubt they want their games to compete with one another. Yeah, one's a high fantasy game, the other one's a sci-fi epic, but regardless, BioWare hasn't been in the best limelight for a lot of people. Anthem was a huge flop, and even though Mass Effect Legendary Edition was a fantastic re-release, it's still right in the coattails of the original Mass Effect trilogy. You can remaster a great game, and yeah, but it's still an old game that a lot of people have experienced. I'm glad a lot of people replayed the franchise and saw why this series is so beloved. So yeah, but sorry, this comes from a Game Mess morning. Jeff Grubb went against BioWare's timeline, stressing that even though testers are being posted as recently as yesterday, teasers as yesterday, it could be 2029 before we see the new Mass Effect game release. This was back up by comparison against Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which was revealed back in 2018 and still doesn't exist. In fact, it was recently delayed, and it's expected that it won't release until maybe next year. Yeah, we haven't even seen official gameplay for Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Right now, the rumor from the alpha gameplay that was released is that it's going to be a soft reboot and going to play similar to the God of War reboot, which I'm all for. I don't mind changes and evolutions of gameplay, but I feel like the hardcore Dragon Age fans, the people who grew up with the original Dragon Age Origins, specifically the PC release, probably won't be too happy about that. A lot of people love Dragon Age Inquisition because it complemented both worlds. It gave players who love Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2's gameplay, specifically the console, and with Dragon Age 2 became the default, while also catering to Dragon Age Origins players on the PC by giving them an overrule of the tactical gameplay. In fact, they built that system so effectively that even on console, it worked so well that I used it constantly. It was a great way to look at the overview of the map and give you a much more tactical approach to the game. But it seems that they're trying to go into a different direction, not to mention a lot of the veteran staff have left or have been terminated. It was revealed part of the Dreadwolf delays that Mass Effect next title will also be impacted by the pushback. Recently, BioWare celebrated N7 Day with an unofficial tribute day for Mass Effect on November 7th, which is a direct reference to N7 brand that is featured in the game, which typically is a codename handed to Special Forces soldiers of the highest skill set. Yeah, specifically humans. Here's a snippet, so you can watch it if you want. I'll leave it linked below. The game is nowhere near coming out. I was told that they revealed Dreadwolf in 2018. This is a similar terms of timeline. This was announced in 2018. It's not expected until next year. Now, do the math, and we're not going to get this Mass Effect game until 2029, which is insane. But, you know, if this was Square Enix, it would be expected, but for BioWare, it's not. And granted, I don't think EA is going to shut down BioWare. Like, EA does have a track record of shutting down acclaimed studios, like what they did with Visual Games and a bunch of other studios. But with BioWare, like, who's going to take up the mantle of making these games after that? Not to mention, they're just such a beloved studio. I mean, I wouldn't hold it against EA for doing something like this, but at the same time, if they were going to shut down BioWare, they would have done it by now. But what happened with Anthem, because we saw what happened with Dead Space 3. Once that game released and it didn't perform because it was set up for failure, I think it only sold 600,000 copies when it first launched. Over time, it sold a lot better, but for the most part, that game was set up to fail, so EA was able to give a reason, quotation marks, to shut down Visceral Games. But in this case, if they were going to shut BioWare for what happened with Anthem and that huge trash fire of a live service, then they're definitely not going to shut down BioWare now. I think that what they're going to do is downsize BioWare and make sure that they can operate on the lowest common denominator, meaning that they can trickle funds to them and let them operate on the most modicum of expectations while not shutting them down, which is something that EA is, like, I wouldn't go against EA for doing something like that. Just say, here's the most lowest money we can give you, just deliver the game whenever you can. And that sounds sad, like you're keeping something on life support, but that's how I'm seeing that, because 2029, that's insane. Remember, the original teaser trailer for Mass Effect came out 2 years ago, and we still haven't seen any gameplay. The only thing we have is this short form trailer that just shows a character wearing N7 armor, and at the core of that is that we don't even know if this is the protagonist or supporting cast. Again, it could even be Liara, like I inferred, wearing N7 gear as a tribute to Shepard. You never know, they might have just changed the character model to be a little more slender. After all, there is the rumor that she is in her matriarch age, so she probably got a little smaller. But this could also be the protagonist, and they may go down the route of just giving us a traditional one protagonist for a female role, like just give a female protagonist, which I'm fine with. But Mass Effect has always been about choosing to build your character as you see them. But that's just my expectations and my rumors based on what I'm looking at here, but I could be wrong about that. So tell me what you think about all this. Do you think that you're gonna still be excited if Mass Effect 5 comes out in 2029, or if a lot of us will still be alive if the world doesn't end? Like, dislike, tell me what you think, and that's it from me. Goodbye.